Welcome to Upstart Footy Preview for Week 2 of the finals. My name is John Takamura. Unfortunately, our esteemed and fearless leader Ben Waterworth is unable to be with us this afternoon. He is on Rugby World Cup duty in New Zealand, but at short notice we've been able to bring in his protege. You've seen him before and he's here again, the good old Collingwood man himself, Liam Quinn. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, J-Tac. Big shoes and a lot of hair to fill today, but we'll give it our best shot.
Week 2 of the finals starts tonight at the MCG. Hawthorn up against Sydney in a knockout semi-final. Last week the Hawkers suffered a couple of injury problems and they ran into a very hot Geelong outfit at the MCG. Up against Sydney though this week, Liam, they beat St Kilda in a very classy win last weekend. Can they win again?
I backed the Swans last week. I'm going to stay on them this week. I think Hawthorn, besides their injuries, have been a little bit overhyped all year, and I think Adam Goodes will be one of the favourites to win the Brownlow in a few weeks. Will carry the Swans over the line. They should win by about 3 or 4 goals.
Hawthorn, Buddy Franklin, will he play, won't he play? That's going to be the big question. If he plays, I'd back Hawthorn to win for sure. Even though he might not be playing, I'll still back Hawthorn to win just. Only one team in the past 15 or so years has been knocked out in straight sets, and I don't think Hawthorn will be, despite the best efforts of a gallant Sydney side who, you know exactly what you're going to get every time they play. The second of the weekend semi-finals takes place on Saturday night at Patterson Stadium. West Coast up against Carlton. West Coast, very gallant last week against Collingwood, only going down by 20 points. They were very good in the first half, but Dean Cox's injury really cost them in the second half of the game. While Carlton, they got the monkey off their back. Brett Ratton got the monkey off his back with a solid victory over Essendon. They were very, very good, but they travel over to Perth. It's not easy. Liam, are the Eagles going to knock them over?
I think it's a bit disrespectful that all week people have been saying that they were just gallant in losing to Collingwood. Collingwood obviously a very good side, and the Eagles prove that they're definitely one of the sides to reckon with as well. They've got a great strength in the team. You look through the middle of their side, people like Darren Glass, Cox, they've got big forwards as well. So they're very strong wherever they play. They've got that Melbourne who do well and truly out of their system now, and I think they'll be far too good for Carlton at home, who might have looked good against Essendon on the weekend, but it was a little bit of a underperforming Essendon side, so I have to take that into account.
Both teams have a couple of injury worries. Dean Cox went off with a back spasm last week. Daniel Kerr also missed for the second week in a row. It'll be interesting to see if both those two players come back in. While for Carlton, Matthew Cruiser, I'd say he's still highly unlikely to play, and Bryce Gibbs is in real doubt with a shoulder injury. I would say Sean Hampson, who kicked 6 goals in the VFL, is a big chance to come into the side, particularly as the second ruckman to counter Cox and Natanui, despite Robbie Warnock being absolutely outstanding in the ruck last week. Chris Judd, I expect him to play a big game against his former team. He was well held last week by Heath Hocking. Despite this, though, I think West Coast at home should be too strong and go through to a preliminary final, and they'll win by 4 or 5 goals. Just a reminder that the winner of the Hawthorn v Sydney clash will play Collingwood in a preliminary final next weekend at the MCG, while Geelong awaits the winner of the West Coast v Carlton clash. That's all we've got time for this week on Upstart Footy Preview. Big thank you to Liam Quinn for coming in at such short notice. Thanks very much, Liam.
That's all right, J-Tac. More than happy to help out, and big thank you for wearing your leather jacket in the sunshine.
No worries, mate. Also, thank you to all our listeners on bigfooty.com. We appreciate your support, and also to keep tuned into Upstart, the website for emerging journalists.